The Northern Pacific Railroad's Twin Cities operations featured a crossing of the Mississippi River, which as of 1924, trains were conveyed via this route through the University of Minnesota on a pair of bridges. Bridge number 9 surviving to this day as a pedestrian and bicycle trail link between downtown Minneapolis and the Dinkytown Greenway. These 1947 aerial photos depict the former industrial character of the land and the railroad's establishment on the now park-lined banks of the Mississippi. Freight is now stub-ended in this neighborhood, and the bridge now serves as an additional corridor for students and alternative commuters in Minneapolis' southeast neighborhoods. Prior to life as a footbridge, the bridge would have seen daily crossings of the North Coast Limited train from Chicago to Seattle, with stops in both St. Paul and Minneapolis, Minnesota's downtown stations until the 1970s, when passenger rail mostly consolidated into Amtrak and the Minneapolis station was closed. Development of the Twin Cities Trail Network has seen this bridge's access improved over the past decade, as the West Bank approach illustrates. From Milling District condos, the Greenway and River Trail connections pass under the new 35W bridge approach spans and emerge at Bluff Street Park, a subdued crossroads amidst intersecting trails, roads, and the river gorge. Exiting the bridge behind us, the rail grade would have proceeded downtown via this abutment. Present-day trails now occupy the former industrial area, as this interpretive historical marker describes. The removal of the connecting bridge allowed for the University of Minnesota to create this trail link from the West Bank campus to the edge of the East Bank campus. The Greenway portion to the north through the railroad trench was opened less than a decade ago, making this pathway more ideal for pedestrians and cyclists going from Dinkytown, the campus business district, to downtown Minneapolis. The Washington Avenue Bridge to the south is the campus's primary link to downtown, but the bridge we're on handles more traffic from campus extracurricular activities and crosstown bike commuters. On the north side, the 10th Avenue and Interstate 35W bridges are visible. The number 9 bridge was closed after the collapse of the latter, the wreckage investigation taking place on the West Bank shore below. Both bridges allow for bikes and pedestrians to cross the river separated from the congestion of vehicle-only bridges. The bridge was formerly one of a pair of rail bridges at this site carrying 2 tracks each. It now affords a decently maintained concrete deck. The railing is in need of painting, but the structure is otherwise in good repair. Finding the bridge is somewhat obscure for those living off campus, but trail connections on both sides are improving. On the East Bank, the University Heat Generation and Education Sciences buildings operate. The trail beyond here reaches a crosstown network of greenways with dedicated right-of-ways and on-street bike lanes. Both sides of the river offer trails as well as vehicle parkways for a scenic drive. These iron structures might be linked to the railroad's past, but could also just be decoration. The walk on the East River Trail, despite some construction this summer, is a decent path with some good, if not overgrown, overlooks. The bridge was integral in the relocation of the railroad right-of-way that freed up the river shores for parkland. The steep river gorge makes for a winding right-of-way even in the trails to this day. With the bridge in place, trains had a straighter movement across the river while maintaining access to the banks of each side. As riverside industry waned, so did the need for riverbank freight trains, and the character of the Minneapolis riverfront gentrified into the mix of parks, residential, and university development we see today. Freight now runs through the massive St. Paul Midway Yard rather than along the river, with tracks existing to convey coal for campus heat generation or simply to store idle freight cars. The bridge is being adequately maintained. With continued improvement to trail access beyond its perimeter, the number 9 bridge will be serving Minneapolis for many years to come. Thanks for coming along today. We have a few more Minneapolis bridges to take a look at, so stick around. I'll see you next time.